and one, and we're live. It's the website one meeting, or I mean, it ends up being the hacking hangout pairing session-y thingy. What's it? I mean, we've sort of lost any really coherent structure apart from the regular process of me just kind of going around everybody and getting a list of stuff that they're interested in, they need to work on, and so forth. Let me go and grab a text edit that was from the previous meeting. Let there be another one. So we've got, this is now website one. Let's start. So Aditya is having install issues. Gosh, I guess I'm going to have to just like kill whatever processes are on my machine that are really slowing it down. I hope it's not Visual Studio Code. I've just started using Visual Studio Code and I quite like it, but if it's burning my machine.
Yeah, for Macs, they have a bug. Yeah, because my wife had the same problem.
With Visual Studio Code?
Yeah.
Why don't you guys Vim?
It will eat your memory.
Visual Studio Code?
Yep.
Why don't I use Vim? I don't know. I guess because it's like incredibly painful. And I mean, you know, I used Vi back in the day. Yeah, maybe it would be better to use Vim. I mean, I sort of prefer Sublime. I was just trying out Visual Studio Code today. Yeah, I don't know. The CPU time seems to be all right. Where's the memory gone? Memory, but it doesn't seem like here.
That is the issue on Microsoft.
Yeah, I mean, although like from this list, it's certainly not. It's not Visual Studio Code that's eating up my memory at the moment. Like we can see the memory there. Let me shut down. For example, like the Thunderbird's got like 3/4 of a gig. I see that Firefox is running in the background, and I didn't expect it to be. Oh, I've got that. Oh, there's that Electron process. Oh, give me a second while I just. I think it's partly that. I mean, I got to buy a new computer really that has like unlimited everything. I just need everything to be completely unlimited. I want to be able to do everything in parallel forever and forever. It's Firefox there. This is the thing. It's like I need kind of like 2 hours at the end of Friday just to like shut everything down. And oh gosh, all right, come on, Firefox. Firefox must die. Oh, come on. There we go. Force quit.
You can use the Great Suspender.
The Great Suspender.
Yep.
Now, what's the Great Suspender?
It's a plugin for. I think that Firefox has another, but for Opera and Chrome, it's a plugin that it suspends automatically the tabs that you are not using. And you can set up the time. So.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Often it seems to be Chrome that's giving me trouble. Rebooting Chrome is often the way. So Aditya, you're a big fan of Vim, are you?
Not really. Like I heard a lot about Vim, and it's been open source for 60 years, right? So I don't
know about 60 years, but yeah, the I think
years maybe.
like yeah, it's a very old and venerable piece of software. Yeah, I mean, I think if you've got the right plugins installed, Vim can be. You know, we have a few members who use it. I think there's a number of yeah, it's a good option. I mean, there's other people who love Emacs. I mean, I kind of use a combination. Personally, I use when I want really lightweight on the command line, I use Nano, and then if I want medium, I tend to use Sublime. And we've just had this thing with we used to have this deal with RubyMine to have access to that, and they're just now starting asking for money, and they've changed the nature of the deal. So yeah, it's I'm going to be exploring other options for those situations where we want to use, you know, a more powerful editor. And so I was just experimenting with Visual Studio Code. Also, sometimes when the people that you're working with use certain things. Now, let me just see. I will have to reboot Chrome, but I think I've now, by dint of killing a lot of processes and things, I've now at least I can type into text edit and it comes back in real time. So that's a step forward, I think. Let's see, the website one there. So, oh gosh, I'm just going to put down some things on my mind. We've got one thing is that's still not. There's this. There's Ethereum for some tickets. Other things that we've got. This is like prod data to staging. Some things. We've got the Rails 5 release. Let's just go. So, Nico, what's on your mind in terms of website one? Obviously, it's the Rails. I'll put the Rails 5 under yours.
Yep.
Thing.
One of the latest things, it was the fix to the pull request that I done. Let me.
The background for everyone else is that we did a Rails 5. Nico's amazing kind of. We thought it was impossible, but Nico got it done, which was to upgrade the whole system to Rails 5. We rolled it out into production, and then there was a series of like little issues that we didn't. Our test didn't encounter because I think they're not sort of Rails 5's tests, if that makes sense. Hey, Stu. Welcome, Stu.
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
We can hear you just fine. Can you hear us okay?
Right. Finally, I've got through.
You have. Welcome. Great to have you with us.
Thanks for everything, Sam.
Hey, no problem at all. Great to have you with us. We're sort of in the middle. Sit back and enjoy the flow, and hopefully it will make some sense. We're just going around and checking what any issues people have with website one and what they're doing at the moment. We're just talking about a Rails 5 upgrade. Okay. And yeah, so we encountered some issues that I think some of the tests we're still kind of testing in a Rails 4 style.
Yeah.
But I think, what was it? We had, anyway, the main one is this action parameters issue, isn't it?
The action parameters, action controller parameters. It was, we were working with instances of that class. So the problem was that params in Rails 4, it was a hash, and now it's an object. So we were testing the way the data was being handled in Rails 4. And when we push all the changes, the problem was that it wasn't. And it was an instance of action controller parameters. So that is the fix that I done there. But we need to check like really carefully all the things that we have touched. And other thing, what I've been doing? I've been working trying to reproduce the same way that the Odin project is trying to. It's trying now. The way they are linking the GitHub pages with the the content that they display online.
So that's the content management strategy, Odin project style. Great. Yeah. So that's the things that you've been working on there. Now I know Adich is just trying to get set up with the project, and he's getting some install errors. Stamatius, you've just got back. I guess I'll go. Stamatios, you're looking for a new ticket to work on.
That's correct.
And Stu is just sort of, I think, looking at projects and Agile Ventures, recent mod member, and Stu, now you've got a bit of a you've written your own Rails sites, right?
But they're very basic, and do you know what? It feels really weird actually talking to someone about programming because I've never actually spoken to someone about it. It's really weird.
Welcome. This is exactly what Agile Ventures is for. Yeah, we get to talk about code.
So it feels really weird at the moment. I'm trying to calibrate myself from talking and looking at the same time. So
sure thing, and take your time, and there's no rush, and of course, like, you're totally free to just listen. But of course, if you want to ask questions and so on, we are, as I was saying at the beginning before you joined, we want to, in the ideal world, we would have a very coordinated sprint structure where everybody was taking tickets and working on them over a certain time frame, and then we'd be doing retrospective and so on, just with the kind of sort of amorphous volunteer people coming and going in and out. We just kind of like, this ends up being kind of a get together where we try and work out what we're all doing, and if there's any way that we can help each other, and we kind of like look at different parts of the project. And it may come across as a bit disorganized. It probably is. But I guess go on.
I don't mind disorganized, so it's good.
Good to hear. So, but now had you looked at the code base at all? I know I sort of mentioned a few different projects to you. Did you try and start getting set up with any of those code bases?
I think a couple of months ago, I pulled it from GitHub and downloaded it onto my machine. And then I started to look at the project management system you've got. Is it the, what's that software?
Jira.
Oh, well, Waffle.
Not Waffle. It was, so I haven't actually looked at Website One. I looked at a different one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, fair enough.
This one, local support. Is it?
Yeah, local support. That's Pivotal Tracker. Yes, and there'll be a meeting on Thursday, which you're more than welcome to join. We can look at that there. Yeah. So I think there's you will see us do the Website One stuff and see if you like it and if you want to get more involved.
Yeah, well, definitely.
Good show. So now, Aditya, I think we've got you into the Website One install channel where you can get more help and support there. I think you're saying you wanted to work on it more yourself. So unless there's anything, I guess eventually you might be looking for a new ticket to work on.
So installing, right? I will be done with the installation within a day or two, and then after that, within this week, I'm expecting to solve maybe 2-3 small bugs or some small pretty features.
Sure, absolutely. Okay.
So where can I find the issues?
Yeah, well, no, let me, particularly since that's Stomatis is looking for that now, Aditya will be looking for that. Let's have a look actually at the board. So what we have, let me go and see different things. Let's go here and go, oh, I've got so many different things that might be relevant to the stuff we want to talk about. Yeah, let's go and get rid of this window. So we've got, this is the board that we kind of we sort of try and use to coordinate what we're doing. It creates like a Kanban environment. This is a Waffle, not dissimilar to Pivotal Tracker in some ways. The big difference with Waffle, which is being very slow here, I think that's my computer, I need to reboot Chrome, is that it basically takes all of the issues from GitHub itself, and then it lays them out into these different things here. So we can see this stuff, and we've got like our backlog. Anybody who opens a new issue on GitHub, it's going to appear here somewhere here in the backlog. We have a sort of process that we, in order to work on something, we pick things off the backlog, we vote on them in this meeting or online. They get assigned a value. So you can see here there in the estimated, there are things with 3 and 2 and 1 and so on. And so these are an indication of 1 is easier, 2 is medium, 3 is then hard. That's in the estimated column. That's before prioritization. We've just someone wanted to get voted on. We got voted on. When they've been moved into the ready column, that means that there's some sort of prioritization has been added. So in principle, things towards the top of the ready column are the higher priority items. Then when people are actually start working on things, you see them move into the in progress column. And you can actually see here that the pull requests for people of like their work in progress gets attached to the individual tickets. So you can see there like this is refactor test to break up 2 checks. And we've got there, this is the pull request then that's associated with it. And when your Waffle works speedily. And that was Mariam, who was in the previous meeting with us. I wonder, did she not want to join us for the Website One? I guess she was maybe more interested in local support now. Anyway, I won't bother her. Maybe she's not free. And then, so the movement across all of these things is actually handled automatically. If you open the branches that you make with the right prefix and you add the right syntax, then this thing, moving from backlog to progress is all handled automatically. The prioritization we have is manually. And then when you're saying like, right, I'm actually ready, you need to move the item from the in progress to the please check column. Things in the please check column, people can then review. And then ultimately, when that gets merged in, it will automatically get moved into the done column. And then you can see in the done column that stuff that's been completed recently.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our framework for managing things. I have to say, like, we haven't looked at it for a couple of weeks. We've been so kind of focused on this Rails 5 upgrade. I've been ill. There's other stuff's going on. We've also got we're doing like a spike of a React front end, which is this other repo that I could maybe pull in to Waffle. Waffle can handle multiple repos. That's another story there. Yeah, let me just go to website one here. But so, if you're not comfortable with Waffle, there's no requirement to use it. We'll manage it. Waffle just serves as a front end for all of the issues and pull requests that we have in website one.
Just so you can see everything in one place.
Yeah, and it's to give it particularly this kind of Kanban style of a series of columns. The way it works is it manages under the hood. It just sticks particular labels into the issues in website one, but then it just provides a different view that's maybe a bit different from the way here. GitHub themselves are starting to provide a similar sort of thing with projects, but it's not quite yet as transparent. Waffle, I think, has still got the edge and the usability there. I see Federico has opened something there, and because it hasn't been attached to a ticket, it hasn't shown up in the Waffle board. Anyway, one of the things that we have at the moment is we for a long time our automated error checking system. This is the thing that catches errors in production and opens things. We only managed to start get that working about 3 months ago, and it's so a lot of the issues are these automated ones, and we're a bit overwhelmed by them. And they're kind of drowning out the human open ones, which are maybe more important. What ideally we need to do is kind of clean up a bit, and basically, for those errors that they are repeated the same thing over again, we need to get the set, close the set, open a separate ticket that links to an identifiable one of them, and then we just have one human created ticket that represents that, and so on. So there's a lot of cleaning up work that is needed to make it all kind of manageable, understandable. But and then you can see that here are the pull requests, which as they get linked up, and you can see, so you can sort of see here in progress. These are pull requests that people are working on that are addressing particular tickets in the system. So, bottom line is, I'm the project manager. Anytime that you're thinking about a ticket, you can always just ask me, in Slack. I think a great way to do, it never hurts to say, to come into the website one channel and flag me and say, Tansaku, what could I work on? Or I was thinking of working on this ticket, and then just, put the link there. And then, just in case someone else was thinking of working on it, we're communicating as a team. We kind of know, oh yeah, he was going to do that, and there was this problem. Oh, don't go that way. We're sharing advice with each other about which tickets to work on, what the problem issues might be. But if you're not a fan of Slack, you can be doing that just in the tickets themselves, and adding comments to the tickets. It's all good. The critical thing, of course, is I would say communication. Generally, if that all makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Aditya, does that all make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. So I have a couple of questions. After, will I do you assign a mentor sort of to just walk me through a code and do a bit of handholding for the first 1 month or something like that?
Well, so the way that Agile Ventures works is, it's basically just they're open source projects, they're supported. We have a premium framework where if you want to, for example, pair with an Agile Ventures mentor, you can pay money to get that premium support. In the usual run of things, if you're just on the free membership tier, then you can attend these meetings. You can kind of get help and support in the Slack. You can potentially have a pairing session with other people who are just working on things. There are various of us working on the projects, and if people are free, then they might be able to pair and so on. But there's no explicit assigning of a mentor outside of the premium framework, if that makes sense.
Okay, I'll just go through this premium thing. How much does it cost?
Well, that's an excellent question. Let's go and have a look. This is part of, Agile Ventures originally started as a, purely just a sort of group of people kind of collaborating together with no real structure. And, structure came in, and we've had the free tier. We introduced the premium framework to come up. We became an official charity, and we introduced this premium framework to try and help support everything. And so there's a series of different packages, like at £10 a month, £25 a month, and £50 a month, to get different levels of support with your whole process. So, you know, and we've sort of dog fooded it. The entire process, like the payment framework and everything for all of this thing, is all code that we've written that goes through, you know, Agile Ventures. So like the Stripe and the PayPal payment and purchasing handling things and all the tests for them and everything are all part of the, it's very like, you know, what's the word? Is it nepotistic, or it's the serpent eating its tail? But yeah, the coding system itself supports the framework for all of this. But I've posted the link in there. You can get all the details you need about that there.
Sure. And what is your like vision for website one? Like, how do you see it growing? Maybe.
Well, that's another great question about where we'd like website one to be. For me, what I would love to see website one do, in collaboration with the other parts of the Agile Ventures ecosystem, which is like the Slack and you know, sending out emails and so on, is that when somebody comes into the system, so that, like, there's this sort of pathway. Like, I would love that, you know, landing on the homepage, the vision of Agile Ventures, which is lots of people collaborating together to, you know, on open source projects to improve their their skills and contribute back to the world by doing good work for other charities. I'd love that value proposition and why it's fun and so on to come across really well. And once people have, you know, got that concept, they're like, yeah, I love it and I want to sign up. And then there's a smooth sign up process. So people kind of come in, they do their sign up. It's all transparent. They, at the moment, we land them on this getting started page that needs a lot of work. And what I would love is that we had a kind of a flow where it said, oh, okay, have you introduced yourself to a project yet? And it kind of tracks your progress. This actually brings us into connection to, if I may, the content management strategy that we've been, that Nico's been looking at. Forgive me if this seems convoluted, but I will get back to the question. So the Rails 5 upgrade we thought was blocked because the editor that we use for like the wiki editing of like project information in this system seemed to be a blocker for Rails 5. It was the Mercury editor. And so that's like, if you're in one of the documents here, Nico, with his amazing upgrade skills, worked out how we could effectively still upgrade to Rails 5 without having to, you know, get rid of the editor. But we're still like this is part of the vision for us at one. I still feel like we're doing too much. Like, so we are providing like a full document editing framework and you know, like a wiki functionality in here, which, you know, is in this unsupported editor that's a bit clunky. Really, all of the open source projects are using GitHub to manage all of their documents and materials. And what we would like to move to is a situation where, rather than us trying to maintain all of this wiki functionality, that we would just be importing data from GitHub, a bit like the Odin project does. And I have to say, the Odin project have done what they do really well. They are, I think, someone for us to look up to as to what website one could do. What the Odin project has is, apart from like having this wonderful integrated chat with Gitter, where you can immediately jump in and start chatting and sort of see the vibrancy and the aliveness of the community. They have a framework. Go away, chat. I want the chat to go away. They have this whole, I mean, curriculum. Their Odin project have a slightly different user base. They are like people starting from absolute scratch who don't even necessarily know what HTML and CSS are, and they have this sort of curriculum for people to work through. What I think is really exciting about what they've done is that they have the curriculum in a separate repo. So all of the content that you're seeing here about this happens to be the one, you know, like on HTML, CSS, and what have you. The content is completely separated from the Rails app that delivers this, right? And the Rails app that does tracking people's progress. So once you've like done the assignments and you think that's fine, you can kind of like indicate that you think this one is complete or incomplete, and you kind of like, you've got this sense of like moving through this sequence of things. All of the actual content that's there happens to be, you know, in this separate repo that can then be, people can make pull requests, they can update it. They kind of really cleanly remove the content bit, which needs to evolve, you know, and be improved and like and sorted out, from the mechanism for delivering it and helping users track their progress. Just to give you a better sense of it, if you click on the view course button here, you can sort of see, yeah, they get this kind of view of, you know, this flow. You've done the basics. There's Git basics, front end. You're working through. You can click here, see like on and off the progress, like, oh, yeah, you know where you're up to, JavaScript basics, all the way through, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like they've got this whole flow there. Now they're starting from very scratch. Agile Ventures is intended for people who have already got basic programming skills. They already know HTML and CSS. They're now trying to like, okay, let's connect with people. Let's get involved in a project. What I would, you know, to come back to the original question, sorry, I'm such a windbag on these kind of things. I've got to work better at being succinct. But what I would love to see is, for example, our getting started to be something like that. It's a sequence of things that you need to do to get involved in a project, a sequence of things that you would need to do to get started on a project. So it's kind of got, you know, have you attended a meeting? You know, have you said hello in the Slack channel? But all the content for that would be in GitHub. We would be loading that in here, and then you know, people will be able to check off their progress, and it would basically be about, you know, making the onboarding onto a project, making starting a project as simple as possible. You know what I mean? That you wouldn't have to, like, you know, sort of flail around wondering what the right thing is to do. And then this is like, look at that. I mean, I'd also like the website to work occasionally and not like fall over from the performance issues. But there we go. That's getting started there. Yeah, is the vision. I would love to enable all of the individual projects people to, you know, keep their, you know, all of the like specific things that they have about their projects on GitHub and pull it into here, but sort of like in the way that Odin Project have done, to augment what GitHub offers rather than trying to replicate some part of it, if that makes any sense.
So let's just say after a month or two, right, GitHub goes down. Like GitHub suddenly crashes. So yeah, when you augmenting, Odin has augmented, right? So they are dependent on GitHub, right? So do you really want to be dependent on GitHub down the line?
Yeah, I think I do. And the thing is that what I mean, GitHub crashing and going offline for 5 minutes would not be any problem for us, and it would not be any problem from the Odin project based upon the architecture that they've set up. GitHub disappearing as an entity might be an issue, but the thing is that, you know, we could put, like, if we have the, so like, so Odin project, the way that this works is that they have a process that, like, once a day takes the content off of GitHub and stores, you know, the relevant bits in their database so that their site is always performant. Yeah. And so if GitHub goes offline for an hour a day, it has no impact on the Odin project whatsoever. Right.
So basically, like, the data is backed up daily, you're saying, right?
Yeah, right. And because they don't need people to be able to immediately push changes to the curriculum. But what Odin project have realized is that in terms of managing these materials and people making suggestions and so on, the whole GitHub pull request framework is fantastic. Everybody knows how to use it. What they've done is they've made it really easy for their community and the broader community of associated people to make suggestions for changes to their course to improve it over time. And they're using what they've very cleverly done is not try to replicate that themselves and create some custom solution. They've said, well, let's outsource that to GitHub and have it come over here. Even if GitHub completely disappeared, it's still just a Git repository. They could take and host this Git repository in another location. So, you know, I think there's no fundamental problem there. But sorry, I mean, it was sort of kind of getting into the specifics of that. That's a sort of a longer term issue of, like, specifically how it's implemented. Nico is looking at that, working on that. He had to go. He's off. In terms of trying to boil down to a succinct vision, I mean, independently of how we do it, whether it's like the Odin project style or that architecture, or we're using stuff on GitHub, the bottom line is, you know, I want to make the site be somewhere that people can come, understand the vision, and then find, you know, and it provides this pathway that they can get involved, you know, find a project that they're interested in working on, find some people that they're like hang out with, and start working on some tickets and get, you know, credited and, you know, have fun and make an impact.
Yeah, makes sense. You're talking really broadly about agile ventures. I was asking specifically about Website One. Like, what's your vision for Website One?
Well, yeah, but to me that's the same thing. I mean, I was that like there, the Website One delivers the vision of Agile Ventures, so it's that's one and the same. I mean, if we're really specific about the vision for Website One, then the thing that the details of the Odin project and like how they've managed their curriculum materials, that's very specifically my vision for Website One. Like the implementation of it is that we should deliver those higher level Agile Ventures vision through an architecture that's not dissimilar to the way the Odin project have done it.
So you're saying that you want to change the user experience, like you want to have a UX guy, maybe revamp the entire website.
Well, I think yes. I mean that's part of, you know, it's not change for change's sake. I mean the point is to try and make it easy for people to find out, you know, how to get involved in projects, how to find stuff to do, get help, etc., etc. We're not wedded to this particular layout and this, that, and the other. We've started doing a I don't find it. I mean, a very, very rough, you know, kind of React sketch. We've got some other UX people who are involved in talking about kind of improving the whole system. But yeah, I mean, it's all about the results. Can we get more people onboarded and engaged in projects, you know, having a good time, leveling up their skills and contributing to fun projects?
Okay, makes sense. Thanks for clearing it.
Yeah, no, you're welcome, and apologies. I'm you know, very long-winded as always. But so then the specifics for things that you might want to work on for Stamatios and Aditya. In principle, you can pull tickets off the ready column here. So, you know, we've got this one here, which is like supporting fortnightly or bi-weekly events. That's something that, you know, I don't know if it's necessarily particularly beginner friendly, but it's, you know, you've got, you know, anything on the ready column. You could also be looking at anything in the estimated column. And then there you might be asking, you know, is this a priority? Should I work on it? I have to say that the whole, like a lot of the tickets do not have as much information as they should to make them easy to work on. You know, that's, I'm available to try and I'll put more, you know, anything that you feel like you're even partially interested in, I will slap more information to the ticket, give you more help and ideas and try and get you rolling.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, I guess we've got, yeah, I guess separately I will review. We're trying to get this Rails 5 upgrade out. Since Nico's gone, that's these are all other bits and pieces I was going to bring up with Nico. I guess there's not much more for us to discuss unless any three of you have, like, you know, do you want to, like, we've got a few minutes now. Do you want to spend some time looking and seeing and see if you want to ask questions about any of the possible tickets now? Or if not, we can finish the meeting early and just come back to me if and when you know you have a chance to look through the waffle board and want to work on stuff.
Well, I'm going to go away and look at the waffle board and then see if I can find a ticket that I could do.
Yeah,
and then just see how the whole process works.
Yeah,
get used to pulling tickets off and finding issues, and then if I've got any questions, I'll ask you.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds great. And I'll add one thing to that. What I will say is, as well as, I mean, I think that is the perfect strategy, I would say, Stu, for moving forward. The other thing that you can do to augment that is also be looking through existing pull requests. So you may feel that you don't have much to offer on the existing pull requests, the existing things that people are working on. But I think even just looking through them and seeing what people are working on and seeing what feedback, what discussions are going on in those in those pull requests. This is similarly for Stamatios and Aditya. That can be potentially very valuable to for you to understand how the project is all working, what's going on. We've also like my higher level mission in general to keep the project running is I want to be having as few pull requests open at any given time. In as much as we want to get the pull requests done, and then they correspond to features or bug fixes or stuff that need to get fixed. The longer that we have any of these open, and the more that we have open, the more likely we are to have kind of merge conflicts and other bits and pieces. So just as working on a ticket is a huge help, anything that any of you can do to help us close out tickets early, to provide help and support to each other and so on, to understand the flow of the other code changes that are coming through, that's all for the better.
What is the average turnaround time for a PR?
Sorry, say again, Aditya.
What is the average turnaround time? As in, like, how soon, if I'm done with it, right, and the PR has been approved, so how soon can I see the changes in the production?
Oh, in production? Well, it all depends. Usually we can have them out within a week. If we're lucky, in a couple of days. We have a whole dev operations process with a staging server and CI and all this, that, and the other. But yeah, I'd say we average about a week to get things in production. It can be fun. Right now, I think we're kind of a bit blocked with ensuring we get this Rails 5 upgrade out. But yeah,
I'm not.
Go on.
I'm not sure why is it a 1 week, because I think like you have 100% test cases, right?
Well, so now that's an interesting thing about having a test framework is we have very high test coverage. We have a lot of test cases, but as the Rails 5 upgrade release just showed, is you can have all of your tests passing, you can still have an error in production. Because there's always the problem that the tests are not quite testing exactly what happens in the real production system. If that makes sense.
I mean, like, are the tests not integration test cases or like unit tests?
We have unit tests, integration tests, we have acceptance tests at a very high level. The principle of testing is wonderful. Yeah, that you have, if the argument goes, you've got 100% test coverage, you can make a change, you will immediately be told if that breaks anything in the system. And we have that. We see the regressions. We can fix the tests. However, there is a step beyond that. It is almost impossible to create tests that perfectly replicate the production environment. And particularly with large upgrades like a thing like the Rails 5. I mean, this is what Nico was explaining earlier on. There are situations where you will still have errors in production, even though all of your tests are green. Then there's a case for, how can we improve on those tests to make them, catch the same sort of thing in future? It's a really complex problem, believe me. And I've been working on it very closely for the last 5 years. I could go on. I mean, yeah, I could talk at length about that, but maybe does that answer your question, Aditya? Or
yeah, you heard about this Cora, right? They had initial stages, right? When I was the initial company, they had a turnaround time to deploy, right? After I'm done with the feature, it goes into production within 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, no, and I mean, I would love to have that kind of setup. In particular, we would love to have, and Nico, I'm talking about having a continuous deployment process where it went out, even faster. The weak turnaround that we have at the moment is more to do with the fact that we don't have continuous deployment set up. We have when somebody commits, if a pull request is merged into develop, it will be immediately deployed to the develop server once the tests have all passed, right? But then we can go in to manually test the develop server, and then we move it on to staging, right? And so then as soon as it's been merged into staging, it gets immediately deployed to the staging server. This is like staging on GitHub. It goes immediately out. But again, then once that's completed, we've got to wait for the test to pass. Then we go and manually test it on staging and perhaps find issues. So at the moment, it's just those manual steps there that mean it takes a few days. in principle, we could be moving to a framework where we were automatically deploying every 15 minutes, but it would be like, you know, we'd have to do the work to set that up. We've been talking about getting to one where we would automatically deploy whatever code is on develop to staging at the beginning of every day, and then everything from staging to master production at the end of every day. We're kind of looking into doing that, but it's kind of at the same time, unlike sort of like, you know, we're very different setup from Quora or Netflix or Twitter, where they've got 100, you know, well, between, like, sometimes it'll be 10, 20, 100 engineers all like doing stuff, and then like, or Facebook, and that's getting released. I mean, it's a completely different scale of delivery, if you know what I mean, in terms of like the features being done, the amount of time that there is to work on this. This is like a, you know, a non-trivial project, but at the same time, the number of people working on it and the number of hours that they can put into it is relatively small, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, makes sense. Like if there are bugs raised, then maybe the developer will not be available immediately. So maybe that might be one of the reasons.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's contributing volunteer time here and there. You know, there's, but we would, you know, if you're excited about the idea of having one of these quick deployment things, yeah, please come and get involved. And, you know, you and I and Nico, we can work on, you know, getting the deployment time down really fast. Particularly now we have Dependabot, which is automatically updating our gems. So you can see here, we've got these, like we've got an automated system that's coming in and finding this. And we can see here, actually, we still can't, we've got like problems like coveralls here, which is doing nothing sensible, is making our builds look weird. But so there, I can just like merge that in. So that, having done that, that'll get deployed to development immediately. I would love really to be doing at least one deploy a day, if not 2 or 3, with all of these changes coming through and forcing us to find the breakpoints and the breaking points and so on. But yeah, come and get involved and help us make that happen. We've certainly got the ideas. We just need more hands on deck.
Yeah, sure, makes sense. So one last question, like if I spend like say 15 hours a week, right, on website one. So what are your expectations from me within a month or 2?
Well, none, basically, because you're a volunteer and you're here for your learning and so on. You know, there are no expectations. I mean, I think if you put in the time, then we'll be trying to help, you know, any work that you do turn into pull requests that can be merged and can get out to production. But there's no, we're very much an adventure. There's no minimum anything, really. You know, it's like, come and get involved, see if you like it, do as much as you want. We do, one of the things that with the pricing, we do prioritize reviewing pull requests from premium members. So for example, if you're in the premium tier or above, then you've got a guaranteed 48 hours turnaround on pull requests to get the review on it and things like that. So, you know, potentially you could be putting in a lot of time, and but you know, and you could be putting in a lot of pull requests that you wanted reviewed. Our AV mentors, including myself, might be unable to review them as quickly as you'd like, but we'll certainly do our best. But you can kind of bump your priority up by taking out a premium package.
Okay, so like if I'm a premium member, then do your expectations change or do they remain same?
No, the expectations become on us. So it's like, you as a premium member, you have expectations of us that we need to fulfill. I mean, again, it's you know, I mean, the key thing with Agile Ventures is our expectations are just being nice to each other. We've got our, you know, kind of community code of practice. Each of the I think each of our different projects have like a code of conduct. So it's kind of like, you know, we're all here to have fun and to learn and be, you know, kind of try to offer constructive criticism, you know, rather than blame or this, that, and the other. These are the, you know, there's these sort of basic expectations. But in terms of like, oh, we would expect you to write at least 5,000 lines of code by so-and-so, or, you know, you must do 6 pull requests. So that's, I mean, that's neither here nor there, because we're a learning community, and it's, you know, for everybody to do their best to learn more. But, you know, if at the end of the day, it's like I'm too busy with my work job or this and over, we realize that, you know, working on a charity project volunteer-wise is going to come second to the other important things in people's lives. So we work around that. All right. Well, great to have you with. I hope that was like entertaining at some level, rather than just me talking forever. Please, if there are more questions or thoughts, please do ask. Oh, there's one other thing. Oh gosh, I'll tell you one thing actually that is a priority for Website One for us is there's a new European data regulation standard that I don't know if any of you have heard of. That's called GDPR. So this is I'm going to be extremely grateful to anybody who can work on this GDPR. It's a General Data Protection Regulation. The impact for us in Agile Ventures, and I guess I should just open a ticket on it right now. The impact for us is we need to make sure GDPR, the compliance. We need to make sure that when people sign up, they have an option to opt in to our newsletter, and if they don't opt into it, then we need to make sure that we don't send them any email newsletters. I think is the kind of key thing there. So it's like provides option to opt in to newsletter, and if they don't, then don't add them to Elastic email or newsletter delivery. Because at the moment what we're doing is we've been assuming that if you've signed up for Agile Ventures generally, that we'll send you the newsletter. I mean, our newsletters have a thing that you can unsubscribe. Obviously we don't want to spam people, but I think that the GDPR now makes it that's now not allowed. It's got to be people in order to send them email, you've got to explicitly allow them to opt in, and you can't like have a default tick box on. It has to be off to start with. So unless they've explicitly opted in, you don't send them anything. So yeah, so that's going to be really important. Yeah, anyway, hopefully next week do come again, and we can maybe get more into like voting on tickets. I think there may be like sub tickets in there. We'll try and get more into the flow, and ideally we'll get to the place where we're doing regular sprints. But there, okay, good. Lovely to see you, Stu. Hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, thank you. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, Stamalios. Bye for now. Aditya, thanks for your great questions.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye for now.
Thank you so much.